Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for holding this important hearing on winning the AI race. It's good to see our panelists here. One of the things that I like to underscore whenever I talk about this issue is we are not just discussing a race to create jobs, not just discussing a race to figure out how to eke out more growth from our economy, although that's important. Not just trying to identify how humans can flourish more, especially Americans, through application of AI solutions to our daily lives in various ways. But this is an issue of national and economic security. I want folks at home to get that. I know all our panelists are highly conversant and knowledgeable about that. In my discussions with you and many others, I've heard we need to work with like-minded partners and allies to win this race, and it's only going to be done collectively. I've heard here today from a number of you that this race is in part about getting market share, diffusion of our AI models and solutions into other countries. It is through that means, for me to perhaps elaborate on your thoughts, that we can see that our own values are advanced. These models, presumably, they'll be embedded with our values related to privacy and transparency and property rights and freedom of speech and religion, not the values of the Chinese Communist Party on each of those various fronts. And then if we can establish digital trade rules, digital cross-border agreements on digital trade with these other countries, we could conceivably erect higher barriers to entry for models that don't come embedded with our standards, models of say, the Chinese Communist Party has given sanction to. So there's a geopolitical national security overlay to this entire conversation, which is why I think the chairman's emphasis on not overly constraining innovation or deployment is very important. But it's also why I think it's important that we be thinking about how to work with other countries in their standards development. So that's where I want to begin asking questions. I'll start with Mr. Smith. If the United States doesn't adopt some standards through some entity, whether it's NIST or another federal entity or federally sanctioned entity, then won't other nations go ahead and feel the need to adopt their standards without any consultation with the United States?
I think it's a really important point you make, and it is the lesson from the evolution of privacy law. The United States didn't adopt a national privacy law. Europe did twice, and most American companies of any size today apply across the United States work that complies with European privacy law. It's just more efficient. So I think the United States needs to be in the game internationally to influence the rest of the world. And you cannot be in the game if you do nothing. You must do something. So you take Senator Cruz's idea, a lightweight approach,
yes, and
then you build support around it.
So just to unpack that, and I'll stick with Mr. Smith with apologies to everyone else because my time's limited. Would it be easier to shape the standards of other large economy countries that share most of our values if we already have a set of standards adopted?
Generally, yes. I think we always have to be careful because if you go too soon, you go before the standards have really come together. But you've got to have some kind of model that you can show the rest of the world and win support for.
And then presumably standards could be harmonized, right? They're not set and chiseled onto a tablet, so to speak, right?
No, that's indispensable. I mean, if our technology is going to go around the world, we need a set of laws or regulations that, in effect, create that basis for reciprocity and interoperability.
Okay. I only have 25 seconds left. Are there any violent objections to Mr. Smith's position? Because that seems eminently reasonable to me. Seems consistent with the light touch approach, but it also shows a certain sense of urgency that the United States needs to act. The last thing I'll say in my remaining 10 seconds is that I am planning on introducing legislation today called the AI Public Awareness and Education Campaign Act with several of my colleagues. And our aim is to have a whole-of-government approach to foster greater awareness of AI literacy and grow STEM opportunities to create the next generation of our workforce, and looking forward to moving that forward. So it will be available for public review, critique, even accolades, and Mr. Chairman, I yield back.